This is the second part of something I started the other day where I was talking about something that I was worried about. Um, I was in a group. I was invited into a group of concerned people, and I'm a concerned person, and people that are concerned about what's happening. The fact that the EU, not regulations but guidelines, just the EU guidelines about what, you know, how you proceed with. Um, I hate saying the word processing, but registration, whatever, people coming into the country, what you do with the paperwork. And the Irish government isn't following that. You know, there's guidelines in place about how you document the person and you identify them and so on. And it links in with Interpol stuff and everything so that you're keeping the people in your country safe, Irish government aren't doing that. Um, and if you ask the question, why aren't they doing that? You get called a racist. You get called right wing. you know, and the gas thing about it is, if you were to look at right wing, left wing stuff, it's the people that would have gone into the category of left wing that are being accused of being right wing. Like, the whole thing's a farce. It's a joke. It's just a way of shutting people up, you know and they're going to use these new hate speech laws that they're trying to sneak through to arrest people like me for asking why are um the guidelines not been followed. Why is there an open door? We have no obligation. We're being told there's an obligation. We have no obligation whatsoever, and we certainly should be capping. It's just not fair. It's just I mean, a lot of the people that are looking at this and are researching properly know very well that quite a few of the people coming into Ireland at the moment are destroying their documentation on the way here. And they've been working in other places. They've been paying their own bills. And all of a sudden, they're staying in places where they're getting rent-free accommodation. They're getting medical cards. I can't get a medical card. I can't get a medical card. And people are strolling in that have been working in another country and they're getting medical cards. There has to be a cap somewhere along the line. It has to be done in such a way that the people coming in can integrate. I mean, we don't have a problem with people coming in. We don't have a problem with people um, that need help and support. You know, we don't have a problem with that. What we do have a problem with is people that are, coming in and doing stuff. I mean, I'm repeating myself here. I know I'm repeating myself here. I'll go back a little bit. The the group I was invited into, I made a comment like, I get sent 10 or 15 or whatever hours of videos every day. There's no way I have the time to watch everything that I'm sent, and some of it is very repetitive stuff. I might have seen another version of it. I might get three versions of the same thing you know several times in a day. So I don't watch everything I'm given. I wouldn't have any life, and I have to make an effort, even more of an effort now, to stay away from the screens and the signals and all that kind of stuff. So there's no way I can look at everything that's put up. But a guy put up in this group, he put up a video. I didn't like the tone of the group, didn't like it. It just made me feel a bit uncomfortable compared to when I was looking at, what Graham Carey was doing. He was saying, no violence, we do this quietly, but we ask the questions and we stand as a community and we ask the questions that we need answers for, and that's fine. And it's not a show of strength as in violent strength. It's a show that, look, there's plenty of us, and it's time that you looked at us and said you deserve an answer. Making fools of us, by not answering us. I have a thing I recorded from the radio, the TV the other day, a program, and three different people asked questions, and the third one didn't even ask a question. She made a statement, which was a ridiculous statement, ridiculous. And the first two people asked genuine, real questions, and they were completely ignored. They just went right, on to the next person. no answer to that question. And then the third person went, oh yeah, we'll just give them all jobs. You know, with all the rapes that we've had recently, you know, gang raped, a middle-aged man gang raped, you know, a younger guy gang raped. These are genuine, these have happened, and it's not on the mainstream media. It's not. But anyway, so they arrest Graham Carey, they lock him up, and then they tell him he's not allowed to communicate with people. But he was a person that was saying, he was calming people down. He was saying, okay, protest. You know, go to the Garda station, go to the places where, you know, we need answers from. But we do it quietly, respectfully, nobody's losing the head, there's no violence involved, and we demand that we are given answers, and we give them a chance to think about it, and we'll come back for the answers, and we'll keep coming back until we get them. That's okay. I think that's fair enough. You know, we're allowed to do that. We have free speech. We're supposed to have free speech, aren't we? So they arrest him and they stop him doing it. So the person that was calming people down is gone. And I'm in this group then. This guy puts up a video, and I asked, he made a point about a particular part of the video, and I asked him where, you know, how many minutes in was this part. I wanted to see what he was talking about. Well, he called me an imbecile. Like, it was so aggressive and nasty. Like, it was unreal the way he spoke to me. And I came back and I went, I don't like the tone of this. That was so nasty and unnecessary. I am so busy, and I just wanted to know what roundabout where on this. It was an hour long, you know, and it was about American politics. I didn't know who any of the people were that they were talking about in it. I didn't know any of the names. I didn't know any of the stories. I didn't know any of the relevance, but I know that what is happening in Ireland. So I'm not thick. Well, I might be a bit thick, but I'm not completely thick. I didn't need to know the history of what's going wrong in America. I'm concerned about what's going on here. And that's secondary to me being sick, you know, and being limited in what I can do and trying to do as much as I can. I was really, you know, it was not nice. I don't want to say I was upset and annoyed and stuff, but it was horrible. I had such a sinking feeling, like it was horrible. And I said, I don't know if I'd be hanging around here. And two different people came along and went, jog on, Etna, off you go. And I just had a little look before I left, and it was very, very scary. They had a video up of a guy who had his mouth taped. His hands were tied, and they cut his ears off. They cut one ear off and he's screaming. They cut one ear off and then they cut the other ear off. I was going, that's what's in here. And they're arresting people like Graham Carey. There are people keeping, like, what happens to the genuine asylum seekers that have arrived here that have had a really hard time? And they're sticking them into places like Termonfeckin or whatever, with the guys who were, excuse my language, wanking into a bus stop down in Killarney, and the guys that stabbed one another. Are they throwing them in with those people? Like, the whole thing is upside down and inside out. You know, we're throwing people that are potentially very vulnerable and potentially very young in with these lunatics, you know? And that really concerns me, that we're not allowed to ask a question and nobody is liable. Same way as vaccine injuries, nobody's liable. There's nobody answering any questions. And if you say anything or you ask a question, a legitimate question about your fears for your area, when you know that people are being gang raped, you know, you're called right wing, far right racist. I'm just, you know, we have to be so careful moving forward that we don't give control to those guys who are sharing videos of cutting people's ears off.